Yo broski, what up? It's me again, rating and reviewing all the music that you guys share with me every single week. For this week I will be reviewing Mac Miller's Circles. Just as a quick reminder on how I rate and review music, I have a 6-tier rating, which goes from number 1 and best songs, bangers, number 2, maybe bangers, number 3, good but forgettable songs, number 4, songs that are number 5, bad songs, and number 6, terrible songs. I will be rating and reviewing every single one of the songs, doing a little bit of musical analysis and explaining why I gave the songs those ratings. I will also tell you what my favorite song in the album is, what the worst song in the album I think it is. I will also give you an overall album review at the end. And that album review has to do with the 6 tiers that I gave it, which have a numerical value that I average out at the end. Additionally, I will compare my ratings with the popularity of the songs to see if the general public also agree with the way that I rated the songs. And I do so by comparing the number of listens on Spotify with the ratings that I gave the album songs. So without further ado, let's start with the first song in the album, Circles. And just as a quick reminder before we actually start with the first song in the album is that for every single review that I do, I try to listen to the album a minimum of 5 times. This album, I have listened to it 6 times, and during the recording of this video, I will be listening to it a 7th time. Now let's start with Circles. And this song, let's start with the first rating, is maybe banger. I don't know if that might be a little controversial or not, because I think the song is really famous. I think it was made very popular through TikTok. The whole this is what it looked like right before the fall. I think that's what the song says. Sorry, let me read the lyrics. Yeah, well, this is what it looked like right before you fall. It's a very interesting song and a very interesting opener. I think this is my first introduction to Mac Miller. Properly, I have never really listened to any of his tracks before. So listening to this album for the very first time, isn't like I'm coming from a first listener perspective. I've heard some of the sound bites from TikTok audios, but I have never heard any full songs. And what I gather from this first interaction as the opener of the album is it intrigues me. The melody is very simple, with the guitar kind of keeping constant beat in the background with some percussive elements. And his voice is just so nice and so smooth and so welcoming. You can't help but wanna hear it more. It has a nice timbre. It's pleasant to the ear to hear, and I don't know what he's singing about. Yes, I could read the lyrics, but I try. Usually I am the type of person that goes and listens to music based on the vibe, and then lyrics are kind of secondary to that. So my ratings sort of reflect that a little bit, where most people may think that this is a great opener based on what he's talking about. However, if I was to just strip the lyrics, let's say that I don't speak any English at all, and I listen to this, is it going to be as powerful without me knowing what the lyrics are saying? And I think that's the difficulty that I'm having with the song, where I think it's really pleasant to listen to, but if I don't know what he's saying, then it doesn't elevate it that much. So with that being said, that's why I give it a maybe banger, where sometimes and I'm like, oh, I really want to listen to this song. It's nice, it's smooth, it's pleasant, it's welcoming. It's almost like he's sort of speaking personally and close to you, and you can't help but listen to it more as if we were close friends or close acquaintances. This song kind of suspends you in this sort of vibe and reality where there's no climax, There's no traditional verse chorus thing happening. It gives you a nice introduction as to what you're going to expect in the album. I don't think it's going to be a traditional pop or hip hop album or anything like that. It's going to kind of keep you in that sort of a state where you are like suspended and there's no real resolution or climax. It just keeps you there, and it's a nice, pleasant, welcoming vibe. So with that being said, let's listen to a little bit of the song so you guys can tell what I'm talking about. Let's just listen to the first part of the song. I mean, that's just a nice vibe. It puts you right in the mood to just lay back, listen, close your eyes, and be like, yeah, let's have a conversation. This is so nice. Like some sort of synthesizer or pad going on. The percussive elements are just little cymbals. There's no bass drum, there's no snare.
Well, this is what it looked like right before you fall.
So very pleasant. Just his voice has such a unique timbre to it. Let's move it forward a little bit to listen a little bit more.
Don't you put any more stress on yourself, it's one day at a time. Getting pretty late, yeah, and I found it goes around like the ends. I keep counting the time, drawing circles.
And then the song's over. So it keeps you like the way that it began. That's how it ended. It's like we had a conversation where he kind of talks about his story or like what he wants to talk about. It doesn't matter what he's talking about. He just wants to talk about a specific subject, and he talks about it, and then it's over, and then we just move on. It's like somebody's opening up, and you're just there to listen. It's not really supposed to be a story with climax, with these amazing peaks and valleys, and it's not supposed to be that. You're just with a friend, they're opening up to you, and you're just there to listen. So in that aspect, that's why what I like the song, but it doesn't always hit it for me. So that's why it's a maybe banger. So with that being said, let's go into song number 2, Complicated. Complicated is a banger. So this song, in comparison to the first song, has a little bit more of a groove, has a little bit more of a walking rhythm to it. Like kinda, I could be walking and talking now with my friend. So yeah, it's like we started talking on the first track, and then on the second one, now we're walking, and he is explaining the story. And we still have all the elements that we had in the original one, but now we have a groove. I like also the synthesizer being used, the I really enjoy the sound. The sound is crispy, it's crunchy, it grooves. Overall, I really like this track. It's so simple. The chords are diatonic, so it follows just the very standard Western structure of chords, nothing out of the ordinary. And the frequencies, the textures, his voice, the story, everything that he's mentioning is nice. I don't need to learn how to speak English in order to groove to this song. I like the walk and talk aspect of it. There is no emotional lift in the song. There's also not like a breakdown part. There's a bridge, which I enjoy, which breaks the repetition, which I don't think that's something that the first song, Circles, had, but now this one does. This is a little bit warmer, it's fuller. The um, the voice along with the instruments are very central. The bass and the drums are a little bit more present. The background textures are just slightly brighter. The mix avoids density. Nothing really overwhelms the vocals. This track feels more grounded in the like in the physical, like I wanna move, I wanna groove, I wanna chat. So overall, this is a song that I kind of always want to hear in the background, and I'm like, oh, this is playing. Yes, let's please listen to this. So let's take a look at some of the elements that I'm mentioning. Why is this not playing? Oh, there you go. You see, we're walking, we're talking, and the organ, like the pad, is so crunchy.
Outside is cloudy, but I like that better.
Again, his voice is so welcoming. Like, I just want to hear this man talk more.
Behind no wheel, but still ain't on my way. Some people say they want to live forever.
And there we have his voice with like the he's doing what is it, a falsetto. Some people like they want to live forever. Well, he's also just using his regular voice. Let's listen to that again.
Some people say they want to live forever. That's way too long, I'll just get through the day without any complications.
Overall, very nice. I even like the whoo.
Does it always gotta?
So, very nice track. Let's go to the bridge.
For us, does it always got? Some people say they want to live forever. Without any complications.
It's just the breakdown, all of the pads, just everything kind of dropping into just the ambient sound.
Gotta be so complicated when I'm way too young to be getting old.
Here. That whatever it is, it's just following the melody. And it's like some pad, but it's obviously the melody of the song. Some people say they want to live forever. I really enjoy this part with the little, I don't know, chimes or whatever it is. It's very relaxing. So I love the song. This is a banger. I don't think I'm ever skipping the song because of how pleasant it is to listen to. So that's a banger. Let's go into the next song, Blue World. Blue World is maybe banger. So this song is the most upbeat song thus far in the album. I really like how sort of upbeat and the synthesizer and the pads are like it's still I think it's also the song that compared to the first two, it cycles through its chord progression the fastest, so it gives it a sense that it's moving forward at a little bit faster pace. Again, I feel like the whole time I'm in a conversation with this guy, he's telling me about his troubles. There is never really a high point or a climax or a resolution. I think he's just telling stories. And I think that's kind of what the album vibe is all about ever since the first track. It's never going to resolve, is what I'm getting. I'm never going to get a song that fully comes to conclusion. but that's okay. It's about being in the moment, being in the vibe, having a conversation. Sometimes having conversations with your friends are not about like, oh, tell me like that big moment. It's like, it's just about listening. And I think that's what this album is all about. So Blue World is maybe banger. The song is, I think, is a little bit more crispy, especially in the drums. I think the drums have that crisp, steady, loop-driven, light bounce to the song that it almost feels like you could dance to it. Like it feels danceable to it in comparison to the first two tracks. I think this is one of the tracks that, even though it's maybe banger, if I could listen to the artist live, this is one of the tracks that I would be looking the most forward to because it feels like the most upbeat, the one where you can let the most energy out. The time feels structured, it feels like propulsive, like it moves forward. There's a clear shift from like the first two songs where you're kind of like floating and you have this walking sensations on the previous tracks. This one feels like more grounded, like let's dance, let's do something, let's take action, if that makes sense. I think the melody also feels a little bit catchier, even though I like the melody in Complicated better. And overall, his vocals are still restrained in range. In comparison to the first two tracks, I think the vocals here are a little bit more drowned out by the overall music. So let's listen to some of that and how strong the music is when it begins. Oh. I like the intro. It keeps you like, ooh, where is this going? It's a blue world. It has the very old-timey feel of something that I could hear in the radio back in the day. I think in comparison to Complicated, the downbeat is a clap rather than a snare. Let's listen to Complicated. Yeah, the Complicated is a snare. You can hear it like ta. In Blue World, it's a clap.
Yeah, well listen man, world it made me crazy. Might just turn around to 180. I ain't politicking, I ain't.
That clap makes it sound a little bit crispier to me. Let's keep listening.
Kissing no baby, the devil on my doorstep being so shady. Don't trip, we don't gotta let him in. Don't trip.
Yeah, his range is very flat, but like it's pleasant. And in comparison, I think the vocals and the synthesizer, they're at similar frequencies, so they're competing with one another, but because they have different textures, like the pad is very crunchy, while his voice is very I'm gonna say something weird. It sounds like honey, like it's just like welcome and pleasant. Welcoming and pleasant. So you have a crunchy and welcoming and pleasant that's it on the same frequencies, but with two different timbres. Therefore, when they combine, it makes like its own unique instrument. There's many bands that I love that do this very well. My favorite band of all time does this, where they combine two different instruments, and when you hear both of those instruments together, it sounds like a whole unique instrument on its own. So if you mix a violin with a transverse flute, then the sound that comes from both of those instruments combined into one single sound makes it sound like there's a unique instrument that didn't exist before. And that's because even though they're playing the same note, the violin is a string instrument while the flute is a wind instrument. Therefore, the textures and the timbre of both instruments create a unique sound. And I think that's what's happening in this song. You have his voice, who has its unique sound, while this crunchy pad is also having its own unique sound, but they're sitting at similar frequencies in the mix, but because they have two different textures that they combine into its own unique sound, which is very pleasant to the ear. It's like a crunchy, crispy, pleasant, welcoming. It has all of the things that are pleasant to the ear. Let's keep listening to it so you can hear it a little bit more.
Yeah. I let it go, but I never go with it. Yeah, okay, cool as fall weather. Fuck the bullshit, I'm here to make it all better with a little music for you.
Like, both are very present in the mix. It almost feels like the pad is higher in the mix than the vocals, but because they are not competing for the same texture, despite of the volume of one another, they complement each other. So I think it's very well done. Just sometimes the song doesn't always do it for me. I think it just has really good energy, but sometimes I'm like, I might skip this song today, it's just not it. But I think I admire musically what they did. So overall, the execution is good. Not enough for me to want to listen to it every single time as a banger, but it's still really good. There's just a genius to it. So Blue World is maybe banger. So let's go on to the next song, Good News. So this song is this is I think the longest song in the album at 5 minutes and 42 seconds, and I think the length of the song works against itself, because I like kinda the vibe of the song and the beat enough to put it as like a good but forgettable song, but the song just drags on for so long. This goes back to what I was saying previously, that I believe songs need to be universal. You don't, if in order for me to enjoy the entire song, I need to learn how to speak a language, then it doesn't follow the principle that music is universal, right? I can agree that the music is nice and I can vibe to it, and a rating of is not really bad. It just means that it's a good track to put on the background, to vibe to, perhaps do some work to, but not really something that you can deeply invest yourself in. And I think that's maybe what he intended, because this is one of the songs that I think, when it comes lyrics wise, he, like, the song is good news, but there's no good news happening in the song. He's just expecting to hear good news, right? So I think that kind of what the message of the song is, it's kind of like his big sort of thing. It's like he's emotionally fragile. The voice is not as inviting and welcoming as it was before. It's almost like if he's talking to himself in the song, expecting for good news, and these are just thoughts that are going through his head. We went from having a conversation with him and to now hearing himself talk to himself. And I know that that's powerful, and I know that that's something very important for an individual to do. But musically, it's difficult to show that feeling when for the entire 5 minutes and 42 seconds is the same exact beat. And even, but with that being said, the beat in itself is not bad. It's welcoming, is, like I said, pleasant. I know I keep using this, but it kind of suspends you in that reality, that headspace of like, I want to vibe to this. I feel like I can habitate this state of mind for a little bit and let my thoughts go, but it just stays there the whole time. And as I've said, all of his songs have no resolution. They have no climax. They just invite you into a feeling, and you're just there in that feeling, which I have said, there's nothing wrong with that, but that doesn't mean that it's great. It just means that you are coming into that feeling, understanding that that's what it is. So to me, I think if the song would have been 2 to 3 minutes, maybe even up to 4 minutes long, then it would have been good but forgettable. But it just drags on for so long. And I think even at the end, he's trying to go out of his range musically, like in his voice, and he's a little bit out of tune. So just to show you And these are all of his songs, right? So if we go to the song from the beginning, let's go a little bit forward. Yeah. So that it just comes down the whole time, and it just keeps going down, and it comes down, and it comes down, and then it repeats, and it repeats, and it's just dragging you down. And I think obviously that's part of the song. The song is that he's in the same thought over and over again, waiting for good news, and they don't happen, and they don't happen, so he keeps going down, and he keeps going down, and this cycle repeats. But man, for almost 6 minutes, I don't know if I can do that.
Maybe I should wake up instead. Oh, I hate the feeling when you're high but you're underneath the ceiling.
The snare, in comparison to Complicated, is a little bit more restrained.
Got the cards in my hand, I hate.
Right, so you hear it as a little light beat. Let's hear Complicated. That's a tight snare. Now in Good News,
a lot of things I regret. Oh, I hate the feeling when you're high but you're underneath.
It's very light.
Ceiling. Got the cards in my hand, I hate dealing.
So it's restrained. He's in a state of mind where he cannot be tight. He cannot just let go. He is in that place. Just the song drags on for too long, and I'll show you where I think he's out of tune. I think it's towards the end. He's trying to like really show his range, and he doesn't have it.
Ain't so bad.
Here.
Well, it ain't that bad.
That hit. That's out of tune.
Well, it ain't that bad.
And then he says, like he's proud. I'm sorry. Here again.
Well, it ain't that bad.
Like, yeah, I nailed it. But again, I like the song. Just, it drags for too long. So this is, I'm sorry, Mac Miller. Let's go into the next song, I Can See. So, we are here, I Can See. This song is terrible. I really don't like this song at all, and let's talk about why I'm giving it a terrible rating. Even if I was to say that the song is not terrible, it's at least pretty bad. And obviously all of these ratings are subjective. You may disagree with me or agree. I just think that this song takes away from what we've seen in the album thus far. All of the previous songs had a nice crunchy frequency that pairs well with his voice, with some little chime sort of things happening. Let's listen to, for example, Circles.
Now I have a name, I have a name.
You can hear the bass doom, 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 with like the little chimes cling, doom, with his voice. Everything has a place in the mix. Bass at the bottom, his voice in the middle, the chimes in the high frequencies. Let's listen to Complicated.
Some people say they want to live forever. That we could make it easy.
You hear that bass with the crunchy, crispy sound with his voice on top of it. Is just very pleasant. The snare is also so tight in the mix. It's just, everything has a place. Nothing is fighting with each other. Now let's listen to Blue World.
Might just turn around to 180.
This is the ones that they have different timbres, but they're in about the same frequencies. Therefore, they create its own unique sound. I like that. Now, Good News.
A lot of things I regret, but I just say I forget. Got the cards in my hand, I hate dealing.
You hear the chimes, the little clink, 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 clink.
Yeah. Get
It's like a little clink, clink.
everything I need and I'm gone. But it ain't stealing. Can I?
You hear that bass. And I can see there's a bass, but it has no groove. It's just like boom, boom. It's like it has nothing going for it.
The man on the moon keep playing. Practical jokes, planet of mirrors and smoke that I fade away in. You be complaining, and I can't explain it.
Which leaves the bottom frequency, like the low frequencies, just too open, too unresolved. There's nothing lifting the voice, and so everything else in the mix, you have the with the pads that are also very high.
I guess nothing compared to the feeling of feeling amazing. Now I'm switching location.
Now, his voice usually sits at a good mid-range frequency, but in this one, he is actually bringing his tone of voice up. Like he's kind of fighting with the pads.
Cause heaven too far when you live in the basement.
Like, he wasn't singing like that in the previous song. He's bringing his tone of voice up. Like, let's listen, for example, the previous song, Good News.
A lot of things I regret, but I just
He's like, he has that throaty, like I just woke up sort of voice. But then I can see he's up here.
and I fade away and you be complaining, and I can't explain it. I guess nothing compared to the feeling of feeling.
And there's no melody to this, the background. Like it's just pads, it's just tones, with a bass repeating dum dum dum. And I'm like, there is nothing to this song. I don't care what he's singing about. I'm basing it musically. I like it. Again, if I have to learn English to appreciate the song, then it fails the music is universal test. So this song overall, it's terrible. The execution and whatever they're going for, even if this is supposed to be a big climax and a big realization moment for him, musically is just very unpleasant to listen to. Even what they try to do musically with some of the things, like there's the snare sort of building up. So you have that little dreamy while the snare is going in the background, and then like they do a snare like, and here comes the breakdown, and it's so weird. It's like worst build-up ever. Like it's very unpleasant already. It's like difficult to grasp, and I'm like, is this supposed to be a build-up? And the snare is just not building up, and then it finally builds up and it doesn't do anything.
So close I can taste it. The man on the moon.
And it didn't resolve. It's just now. So close I can taste it. And I'm like, we weren't even close to tasting nothing, bro.
Keep playing. Practical jokes, planet of mirrors and smoke that I fade away in. You be complaining.
So you were supposed to be up here. This is, I don't know, high energy, or I don't really know what this is, a climax, something. But the snare is passive. His voice is up here. The pads are up here. The bass is just is boring. I think the bassist is falling asleep. So overall, I can't really do anything for the song. Like, the best rating I could give it is bad, but it's just so annoying every time to listen to. So this is just terrible. Sorry, broski. Let's go into the next song. Everybody is maybe banger. I don't know if that's a surprise. I think for some reason I'm getting the vibe that this is one of the most loved songs in the album, and maybe banger is not a bad rating. It's still up there, but it's not a banger. it's a little bit too repetitive for me to make it a banger. I like the piano chords, I like the mixture with the piano, and his voice is just very pleasant to listen to. The snare is back again into that tight, groovy, similar to Complicated. So if we listen to Complicated,
Yeah, I know well, but still ain't on my way.
very crisp. And if we listen to Everybody,
I think you know,
oh,
everybody's gonna die.
the snare is actually a little bit more on it has lower frequencies on it rather than the very crisp one.
Everybody gotta live.
All of the tones are predictable. They're very familiar, like on the piano. Like you can almost tell the next chord that's coming without even hearing it.
I think you know the reason why. Yeah. Sometimes
Like the piano has texture. This is what I mean. In the previous song, I can see there was nothing. It's just tones. And with him, we're singing as high as he can, which is not his forte.
don't get so good. You know I just can't get enough.
Yeah, this song is pretty good. Just it only has one thing going for itself, which is that everybody's gotta live. I think also thematically, he's no longer singing about himself, but is now broadening the subject into more a human thing. So I think that's why maybe the lyrics are just more appealing to people. That's why I think this is, if Complicated is not the most popular song, then I believe this one is going to be the most popular song. Because I think this one talks to a broader base. Even if you don't speak English, you at least know what everybody means, like, or is the thing that sticks to you, that word everybody does transcend the English language because it's so catchy and people sort of understand what that is once they hear it very many times. So very many times, is that even a saying? Anyway, but aside from that, the song doesn't take you anywhere. It doesn't, I don't know. None of his songs actually take you anywhere. They just kind of stay there. And this is something that I said at the beginning of the album. I'm just having a conversation with this man. I keep repeating the same thing, but I think it's just very present in this album. And therefore I'm showing you in every single song what I'm talking about, so you guys can see that I'm not crazy, or like, oh, he's just saying that, but he's not showing examples. And I'm trying to show you here. All the song is got is the same. Everybody's gotta live. Like, no matter, I don't even know how many times he says it in the song.
Everybody's gotta live.
Again.
Everybody's gotta live. Because everybody.
That's already 3 times. How many times does he say everybody's gotta live? I think it's 4 times. And this song is 4-minute song, so once a minute.
Everybody's gotta live. I think you know the reason why.
And like, okay, so that's the first time, then this song starts here.
Everybody's gotta live. I think you know the reason why. Yeah.
So it takes about 25 seconds for the hook. Everybody's gotta live, to all the way like, and you know, and I think you know the reason why. That's 25 seconds. And he says that 4 times in the song. So 25 times 4 is 50 seconds plus another 50 is 100 seconds. Like every single minute, almost half of the minute is on the chorus. So it's just very repetitive. I like it the first time. The second time is nice. The third time, and I'm like, okay, bro. And then the fourth time, I'm like, is this song over already, please? So that's why it's maybe banger. Like, I like it. And then I'm like, it went a little too long. when everybody is gotta end this song right now. Um, just a little bit of a feedback or criticism, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But that's why I didn't give it a banger rating. It just goes for too long in my eyes. So let's go to the next song, Woods. Woods is So this is a song that is similar to what I was saying in I Can See. So I Can See, like we said, is a terrible song. But in Woods, the reason is because I think the song knows kind of what it wants to be. The drums are very nice and tightly in the pocket, just very, you know, you can sort of groove to it, kind of pace around, be in a nice state of mind. There is just tones in the background. There's no bass. There's bass, but there's not like a groovy bass. There's just pads in the background, and then his voice just sits on top of that, which is fine. It's like a nice lo-fi track that I can put on the background while I study, while I work, while I play video games, anything. It's very nice. But that's all there is to the song, aside from the lyrics, of course. But again, it's not universal if I have to learn the lyrics. So that means that it takes a little bit away from the song, and that's why it's just It's not even good, but forgettable, because there's not even like a nice melody in the background. It's just the same tones in the background. So let's listen to a little bit of that. It's a song that is purely driven by the song, by the drums. It's very nice. I wish I could just play that groove in the drums. It's very catchy. Yeah. Things like this. And then his voice is so pleasant to listen to that you're just like, yeah, let's listen to this. This is so easy to the ear. But that doesn't mean that like it's a banger. It's just pleasant to listen to. So it's a lo-fi track, but name me the name of like one or two lo-fi tracks that you know the name of, that you're like, oh, I'm gonna play that lo-fi track right now. It's like, you don't. You just put it in the background, and it's nice. It fills the space. It fills time. You just want something that your ears are not going to be fighting with, and this is that. This is the perfect example. There's a place for the vocals, there's a place for the drums, the pads are not fighting the vocals. Like in I Can See, the pads are just fighting the track at all times. Anyway, I stopped with I Can See. I already gave it my rating, but this is what I mean. This is a song, but it knows what it is, and therefore it's just Let's go with the next song. Hand-Me-Downs. So Hand-Me-Downs is good but forgettable. This song is actually pretty nice and groovy. I like the fact that the song kind of has that guitar kind of going for it. Clean, clean, healy, clean, clean, clean. I think we're going back into some intimacy. I think this is the most openly tender song so far. I feel like it's very tender, very, almost feels like a lullaby. All of the chords are major chords, or we're on a major scale, so it feels bright, happy. There is also a feature in the track that is not mentioned in the credits of the song, and I thought like, wow, is that him? Because they have very similar texture in the vocals, both of them, but the feature actually has better range and can sing a little bit better in tune than Mac Miller himself. Let's listen to some of that.
But I'm feeling strange. Get away when it ain't really safe and it don't seem right.
Here he has again his high pitch sort of voice.
But what's new, you get used to the bullshit. Screws, they go missing.
But it's not fighting with any other melody up there. The guitar has its own pocket, the drums its own pocket, the pads, everything sits very nicely, and the vocal can just exist. Whereas in I Can See, they're both fighting for the same spot.
Slightly, they might be, but
I thought that was him, but it sounds slightly different. So I'm like, is that him? Is there a feature? But then I didn't see a feature in the credit of the song. Therefore, I'm like, oh no, it must be him. But no, that's a different person.
Remind me, shit, I need to stay in line. You damn well are a great design. Hey, you.
He has a better control of his vocals.
Despite being an only child, say you need more of a family around. Let's turn these jeans into hand-me-down.
I want to hear more of that guy. Like, that guy has a better vocal talent than Mac Miller. Whoa, controversial opinions. I'm just saying, he has the same timbre of voice as Mac Miller, but he has better control of his vocals. So musically is more pleasant to the ear. Tell me if when like that guy started singing whatever he says after that, damn well are a great design. What is it that he says? You remind me?
Remind me, shit, I need to stay in line. You damn well are a great design. Hey, you, despite being an old.
Don't tell me that when you heard that, you weren't like, oh, that sounds so good. And it's not Mac Miller. Because if Mac Miller tried to do that, he can't. He goes out of tune. So Mac Miller can talk and rap and do all the lyrics that he wants, and he might be a lyrical genius, but this guy has the vocal talent. So let's get this guy. Whoever this feature is, get me more of that, because this guy does have control of his voice.
Only child, say you need more of a family around. Let's turn these jeans into hand-me-down. Down, down. Down, 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 down. Yeah, well, just being honest, my conscience ain't doing bad.
It's very pleasant to listen to, just like Mac Miller himself. But I like his control of vocals better. This song, like I said, it's not bad. It's a good song. It's just forgettable. It's the type of song that you're in an album and you're like, oh, which song is this? You're like, oh, that's right, that's a good song. I just forgot it was in here. That's the type of song. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just what it is. So, yeah, let's go to the next song. That's on Me. That's on Me is It's actually something very interesting about the song. I think this is the first song that you have shared with me that it's on 3/4. So it doesn't follow the normal 4/4 beat. I think on Rosalia you sent me a song that was on 6/8. But this one is the first one that is on 3/4. And what I mean is that it goes da 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 da. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's on me. That's on me. Dun, dun. I know. Dun, 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 dun. It's on 3/4. So that was pleasant to listen to on that aspect. Then I'm like, ooh, this is so unique. First 3/4 song that my brother sends me. So I was pleasantly surprised by that because not many artists do songs on different time signatures than 4/4. Aside from that, the song suffers from the same thing that which one was it? Everybody has, which is just realizing the one single hook. That's on me, that's on me, don't do my fault, or I know, or whatever it is. And it just repeats like for the whole track, and that's it. I don't care about the verses. I do like the beat because now we're sort of grooving. When you listen to 3/4, usually the beat that you get is kind of going from side to side. You're no longer going like forward, like which is like that's 4/4 standard. Like you feel like you're moving forward to something. On 3/4 songs, you get more like a side to side sort of beat. And that sort of groove, like from left to right, means that you're just kind of staying in that feeling. And that's on him. I'm just kidding. But aside from that hook and that unique aspect of the song, the song is just there. It's a good background song that I can put when I'm working. It's very memorable because the hook is just so catchy, almost bordering to annoying. Like that's on me, and I'm like, okay, dude, I understand it's on you, but that's all there is to the song. So it's just, hey, let's listen to some of that. Choo 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 choo.
That's on me, that's on me, I know. That's on
It has that piano with like a guitar.
me, that's on me, it's all my fault. That's on me.
And that's the song. Like there's nothing else to the song, and it's 3 minutes 38. So, yep, just a nice background song to listen to groove back to side to side. Love that part. But again, that's all there is to it. So let's go to the next song, Hands. This song is bad. So I think that this song, I think, is the most confrontational song in the album, where I think he is actually trying to confront whoever is criticizing him. It's also so it contrasts very strongly against the rest of the album, where his vocals have always been kind of cool, chill, collected. Even in the ones that are high pitch, they feel emotional. But in this one, his vocals seem angry, almost to the point that I thought it wasn't him who was performing at first. And I'm like, oh, is there another feature in this song? The tone of his voice is very different here. It's more assertive, a little bit more aggressive. But let's just listen to that for a second. So obviously start with the yeah. So let's go to when he actually starts performing.
Yeah, why don't you wake up from your bad dreams? When's the last time you took a little time for yourself?
Yeah, like he's like more assertive. Like, when's the last time you took some time for yourself? If we hear other songs,
everybody just wanna have a good.
So he's like, just it's more like more down here. And like, let's listen to another song.
Yeah, well, this mad world made me crazy. Might just turn.
it's so laid back, so cool, you know. But then if we listen to Hands,
Yeah, why don't you wake up from your bad dreams? When's the last time? And I bet you wish you had these.
yeah, he's like mad about something, and the tone of voice is very different from the rest of the album. And we're 10 songs in, so. But that being said, I don't think I so why is this song bad? Is the issue with it? I am getting annoyed at this song, and I having a hard time understanding what it is about it. So let's break it down.
Yeah, why don't you wake up from your bad dreams? When's the and I stay behind the wheel and never have speed.
If I think about it, and I may be crazy here, but I think the piano is playing two notes that are dissonant from one another. I think that's meant to be on purpose, but it's very unpleasant to the ear. It's like clink, 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 clink. It's just constantly there the entire song while you have this little boy, while he's just aggressively telling me something, like being assertive. It's just there's too many things that are too crazy happening, that are too annoying, and none of them are pleasant. It's not crunchy, annoying, pleasant. It's dissonant, uncomfortable, displeasing sound to the ear. So let's start from the beginning of the song where oh, that's not the beginning of the song, sorry. You get that. The drums are already very like very on your face, with just the toms. I think this is the more toms we've gotten from the drums in any of the other tracks, and they're very in the mix. And as you can hear, the piano is clean, clean. Okay, the piano is not dissonant, but I think they're putting an effect on the piano that is doubling the note. And I don't know if it's playing an octave or if it's just doubling the same note, but it is offsetting it by a little bit. Like they're not being played at the same time. It's just offbeat a little bit, and that click, like the little delay, click, 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 is so dissonant to the ear. The same drums, and they're doing something in the mix here that I'm not a fan of, but I understand what they went for. But usually when you hear the drums, the highest tom, the highest pitch one for in most mixes, it starts on the left pan, on your left ear, and then it goes to the right ear, and that is to reflect where the drummer is sitting in the drum set, because you have a drummer and you pretend you're the drummer, you're sitting in the drum set, and usually right hand drummers start with the tom here on the left hand side, like front left, and they slowly start going down to the right where the big tom is, and the floor tom, boom, boom, boom. But in this, it's backwards. The drum, the floor tom, is on the left hand side of the mix, which is different from a lot of mixes Listen to any other band, and whenever the drums are going tu, 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 you're always going to notice that the majority of the time, like 9 times out of 10, they're going to the right. Like the floor tone, the one that is the lowest pitch, is on the right side of the mix because you're listening from the drummer's perspective. But in this one, they put it the other way around and it sounds so different. Let's listen to that again so you can hear what I'm talking about. You see, it went to the left. It's gonna do it again. The last tom is over here on the left. Boom. Anyway, so it has all of that, and then he comes in asking when's the last time I took time for myself.
When's the last time you took a little time for yourself?
With the dissonance, with the kid doing whatever he's doing, and I just can't stand it. It's just bad. I'm like, what are you trying to tell me, bro? Musically, this just doesn't work. Skip. This is an instant skip. I want to see how many people agree with me when we look at the ratings and how many people listen to this song. Because this is very dissonant to the ears. So yeah, let's go to the next song, Surf. Surf is good but forgettable. And I think that's a controversial opinion. I don't know why I'm getting that vibe. I think most people would put this as a banger or maybe banger. I think mainly because his lyric when he goes and says it's your eyes and your ears and your mouth and your nose, your head and your shoulders, your knees and your toes. That is golden. That phrase alone, gold, is the one that I always sticks in my head. But I'm like, which one is the song that has that? I'm like, which one is it? And I can never find it. And then it's like, oh, it's this one. Because the rest of the track is like, it's good, but it's just too long. I think this song reminds me of another song by a different artist, Childish Gambino, Redbone. It has that same sort of vibe. Ding, ding, dack, ding, 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 dack, with like sharp sounds. So let's listen to this song, Surf.
Where are you going?
First of all, I love the guitar. Ding, cling, ding, cling, ding, cling. Very nice, very predictable, very consonant. Again, pleasant. The guitar and his vocals have a good mixture where they know where they both sit in the mix. They complement each other. And then we go with the drums and everything coming together.
I dream of this moment, no, don't need to be low. So much of this. People, they lie, but hey, so do I.
This is very reminiscent still of his earlier songs where it's just the drums, the bass, the guitar, his vocals, very normal.
Until it gets old.
He's now entering that falsettos. Till it gets old.
There's water in the flowers, let's grow.
And then you get like do do do. That crunchiness to it now starts adding some more modern sounds to it, which are pleasant to the ear. It complements each other very well. That all of that is very reminiscent of Childish Gambino, Redbone. Let's listen.
So low, you make it hard for boy like that. No wow.
Yeah, that like.
I'm wishing I can make this mine.
Oh. It's not the same, but it's reminiscent of it. Let's listen to Surf. And obviously it's because the vocals are so different. He, like Mac Miller has a more um, welcoming sort of spoken vocal that is very pleasant to the ear, and then Childish Gambino has that, at least on that specific song. But here, the synthesizer that they use for Surf, that sounds like Childish Gambino's voice in Redbone. You know, sorry, I'm making just noises. So it has sort of that same beat, like that same sort of groove with Childish Gambino there. So I like that.
Until we get old, there's water in the flowers, let's grow. People.
And it has a very long outro, like when the last song, the last part of the song.
Until it gets old, there's water in the flowers, let's grow.
And then from then on is a 2-minute outro with no vocals. 2 minutes. And if we listen to Redbone, which is also a 5-minute and 27-second song.
Don't you close your eyes.
There. 1 minute and 54 seconds of outro with few vocals. So it has that same vibe. I don't know who came up with the song first. I think Childish Gambino came up with this on 2016 and Mac Miller on 2019. So I think they grabbed a similar structure and it's like, let's do something with that same vibe, but let's use your vocal as like its own unique difference to it. And it's not the same thing, but I do think that they kind of took this song and they modeled Surf into it. But I think just Redbone is a better song. Not saying that Surf is a bad song, it's just I like Redbone better. I think it's better executed. Surf is a little more boring and more repetitive, but it does have all of those elements that make it reminiscent to Redbone from Childish Gambino. I do like the lyrics, but I can always forget that this song sort of exists. It's always pleasant to listen to. It's a nice find. It's like, oh, that's right, this track. It lasts a little too long, a little too repetitive, and it doesn't have as unique elements to break the repetition like Childish Gambino, which he goes really high, like even in the chorus and so stay woke, like he screams in that song. We don't hear that range from Mac Miller. So this song doesn't reach that high, doesn't reach the low. Like in Childish Gambino, we're getting a nice going to normal, into a climax, into a resolution, and this one is just flat all the way through. So it's a different execution of the same sort of theme, but I think it falls flat. So one is a banger, and this one is good, but forgettable. So let's go with Once a Day, which is the next song. Once a Day is bad. I'm sorry everybody. I don't know if you're expecting me to say that it's A or good but forgettable, whatever, but this song just doesn't have anything going for it. And I think that they're like, oh, he's singing something nice, and I'm like, I don't care how nice he's singing. It's so repetitive. It's the laziest excuse for a song that I've heard. It's not a terrible song. It's just bad. I'm like, instant skip. Like, just why do you exist? They went too lazy on the pads, and he's talking, and then he's like, once again I get high, and I'm like, I don't care, man. Like, whoa. Like, I understand that this man had a lot of emotions and was very influential because of the way that he made music and the way that he talks about his feelings, but I'm talking about musically. Let's say that I don't know anything about Mac Miller. Nothing. I don't know about his death or his influence in music, nothing. And this is a song that I'm listening to. I'm like, okay, insta skip. I'm already annoyed. There's nothing going for it. And then again, it breaks the rule of being a universal track where I have to learn what he's saying in order to appreciate it. And if that is the case, then it takes away from the musicality of the track. So I'm like, this is also the album, and this is something that I appreciate from this album, is that it has no interludes. They're all tracks, which is interesting to me because a lot of albums always put interludes that break, like they give you a break somewhere in the album. This doesn't have that, but this track almost serves as an interlude, but it's not. This is a 2-minute 40-second track that doesn't do anything musically. It's just him and a pad and no drums, no bass. Is the laziest excuse for a song. And obviously I'm being very harsh here because it's fine, but when I find that it's lazy work, that people can just replicate this, anybody could do it, I could do it. Well, I don't know how long it would take me, but I feel like I could write a song like this, just plus his vocals. Like, let's listen to it.
Once a day I fall asleep with you. Once a day I try, but I can't find.
Nice vocals. I like his voice. But there's nothing going on in this song.
A single word. I wonder what they know. I wonder if they ever. Everybody keep at just why aren't we?
There's nothing happening in the song. I'd say I just skipped through the entire song and it's the same. Like there's no emotion. I mean, there's emotion, but there's no. It's just so boring. So I'm sorry. Once a Day is just, to me, it's a bad song. And I think this is kind of who he is. You just give him a melody, a groove in the drums, and he just mumbles across all of the tracks. And that's his music. And sometimes it hits, and sometimes it's pleasant, and sometimes it's just so mid. And then sometimes it's just this lazy excuse for a song. So this is just bad. Let's go on with the next song. Right. So we're getting to almost the end of the album, and this song is also bad. So we are moving away from songs that have melodies, and we're now getting into songs that are just very harmonic and just tones. And I know that they're trying to experiment and do different things, but it's just so boring. It's like it just falls flat. Like this song, a lot of the tracks that he does have that like nice groove, and like it kind of moves forward and you kind of groove to it. This one, they try to do something different in drums. They and that's all there is. There's no, like, it builds anticipation, and the fill with the drums doesn't resolve the anticipation. Like, you are suspended the whole time waiting for something, and the drums don't resolve into anything. They don't groove into anything. They just maintain themselves there, while you have a lot of background noise happening and a lot of tones and a lot of harmonies, and just his vocals there. Like, the vocal, just because his voice is beautiful doesn't mean that you can just coast through the song musically. Let's listen to it. Already when I hear that, like that, I already become cautious, and I'm like, I already think this is going to be a disaster. It's very hard when you're already giving me noise at the start of the song and you think like, oh, this is so interesting. But it's just you're just giving me noise. There's no melody to that. Like, who is gonna sing that? Just because you pretend that it has some texture, nobody can sing what you just wrote there. I think it's like some sort of noise, but it's reversed. Whatever, it's a recording of something, but they reversed it. Lots of reverb, you know, but that's the beat. That's what I'm vibing to the song, and that is not very vibey. If it's just there's so much amplitude to the waves, like it resonates for a very long time. So there's no melody yet. It's just a groove that it's very ample. The piano, like it's so muted.
It's been a while without your face.
And then we have the superstar here with a beautiful voice, and there's nothing happening in the background. Absolutely nothing.
I saw your picture on the wall the other day. Too much distance.
Like every time the drum say like boom, 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 I'm like, shut up. Like let me hear him. But you interrupt him with like boom, boom, boom. It's just too distracting.
That's too much space. You need to come back home and run alone. Yeah.
And then the bass finally comes in.
I'm waiting for the light to change. You ask me how I...
And the issue with the bass line is that although it is interesting, it is not predictable. And you can say like, oh, songs are too predictable, songs are too repetitive or whatever, but humans, we tend to like things that we can, there's a sense of familiarity to it. It doesn't have to be repetitive, it doesn't have to be the same thing we've always heard, but it has to be something familiar. And although this bass line is here, you don't know where it's going. It has like, and you don't know where it's going. What is, you can't predict it. And that's interesting, but it's not familiar. Therefore, you kind of reject it subconsciously. Let's go again.
Too much distance, too much space. You need to come back home and run alone. Yeah. I'm waiting for the light to change. You ask me how I've been, well I'm good, I can't complain. Times get harder, things get strange. Oh, I know, but I want you gone.
Like, I don't know if you can sing that whole or like bass line. Like, can you, just by hearing it just like I just heard it right now, can you sing it back? It's difficult. Like, you don't, it lasted for so long. There were too many things, and there were some nice where you're like, oh, there's something interesting happened, but then you can't remember it. You're like, I'm glad that's over because that was a mess. And let's hope that the bass gets better into something that I recognize later on, but it doesn't. It's just this the whole song, so I can't, it's just bad.
Stupid, but look at who I have become. I ain't gonna break your heart. Promise it's always safe. Days strange your face.
And see, at the end, they just give me noise, and it's like, oh, this is so amazing and interesting. Actually, the more I explain it, this song is terrible. I'm switching my score. This is terrible. I'm sorry, but I want to see if you can tell me I'm wrong and if I'm missing something here. And I want to see at the end when I check in comparison to Spotify how many people are listening to this track, because this is awful. I'm like, I please skip. Just next. Everything about this song pisses me off. So yep, let's go to the last song in the album, Floating. So the last song of the album, Floating. This one was a little bit complicated because I found it extremely annoying the first couple of times that I heard it, but there's a part of the song that I like and some parts that I'm like, it's so annoying. I think overall, I don't think this song is bad, because there are parts of the song that I truly enjoy that I'm like, I would listen to that song just because that specific part of the song. And that's the part when it goes like, ja, ha, 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 with then like an arpeggiator. It's so nice. Even though it's done in a weirdly way, I like listening to it. And it goes to like show that I like songs that are annoying, as long as it's like a pleasantly annoying experience. I think the groove, it's pleasant to the ears, even though it's kind of annoying, even with the sha ha ha ha. And I'm like, there's something about it that I like, but everything else in the song is like, and I finally get away, and I'm like, get away from me. Let me just listen to the nice parts of this song, because where does this go? I don't think this song. I know, for example, the song is not terrible. The song is not a banger either, so it's also not maybe banger either, because I don't want to hear the whole song at all. Like, at any point in time do I want to listen to this whole song. So we already eliminated terrible, we eliminated banger, we eliminated maybe banger, and I also think this song is not which I mean, like, it's not a song that I can just put in the background and forget it exists, because there's a part of it that I groove to it, that I get hyped, and another part that I get like, oh, this is disgusting. Let's listen to those parts first, before I go to the final rating of the song. So we get to the beginning of the song. I immediately don't like this, because I think this is what I call a lazy approach. Is that fair to say? Who cares? This is my channel. This is what I'm calling it. This is a lazy approach where you have the drums and then you have pads. And I'm like, come on, anybody can do that. Like, people can just do this at home. So there's nothing interesting to it, and then we have a very annoying. Like, you can lie to me and think that you think that's interesting, but it's not interesting. It's just extremely frustrating that I'm like, this is the last song in the album, and I don't know what is with artists that they don't know how to end an album. They just put a lazy song at the end. What happened to the days where the last song in the album was like a magnum opus, like, we wait until you hear the last song, you're gonna enjoy this track. But for some reason, this is not that.
Yeah, there's a room somewhere up above the tree.
All of this I don't like. So this is already in almost terrible territory. Just this. Obviously, this is not what I'm rating the song, but all of this part is just terrible.
But once you get there, you don't ever wanna leave. When I can finally get away, I need to see it with my own eyes.
I think this is a lazy approach. His vocal is so beautiful, and they just lazy it out in the rest of the track.
Hope it remembers and it knows my face. I'll come and see if you don't mind.
It's not something that I can just put in the background. It's just annoying me too much. So I'm saying this is leaning towards bad territory.
When I can finally get away. When I can finally get away.
And then we get to this part. And I'm like, interesting. What is this? Like, are we vibing? And I'm like, ooh, yeah. And I don't know what they did here. I think there are, first of all, you keep the same beat, like dun, stacks, dun, stacks, but you add an arpeggiator, and I think there's also a drum loop in that arpeggiator thing, like where like you hear like in the background, and it doesn't line up with the first part of the drums that we hear, so it sounds a little strange, like it breaks repetition but in a weird way. It's not predictable. So let me show you what I mean. This is the normal drum track,
When I can finally get away.
and then it's gonna go into that part, but like try to hear, there's two drum tracks being played on top of the other, and they're fighting each other. You hear like the like there's two kick drums going on. I'll play it again. Like there's two kick drums playing. There's only one snare, but the kick drum is just playing simultaneously at the same time as the other. There were two, I think there are two snares actually, and you can hear them there. Both of them played, and one of them is a little bit more muted than the other, and it's it's a very abrupt beat. So the other snares that we've heard previously are more open, like da, and you hear a little bit of a echo or reverb, da. With this one, it's like, let's hear it again. Open. Here. Like, and then now. I don't know, it sounds weird to me. And actually, I don't think there's two snares. I think it was the snare and the drum kick played at the same time. So it sounded like, I'm sorry that this is so confusing. I'm trying to figure it out as I'm listening. There, did you hear that part? The snare is fighting against another drum, like kick drum. Not there, not there, there. The third one. So the third one that I'm gonna play is the one that is fighting against the kick drum. Next one, you're like, it's like it doesn't know what it's doing because there are two drum tracks fighting against one another. So it is very weird the way that it's breaking repetition, but that sort of vibe, and I'm like, ooh, this is good. I like it.
There's a place way up above the clouds.
but we got to the lazy part again. I'm like, come on.
In between later. Maybe I fly.
Like, just give me that. So, although I want to rate this song good but forgettable, I think this is just bad. It's bad and poorly executed. There's an element that I like, but overall, I can't overlook on the way that they mix this. I think it's a lazy approach with like poor mixing, with like a drum track on top. And I know that they are trying to make it interesting, but it's not interesting. It's frustrating. So overall, this is a bad song. So we got to the end of the album, and it was the end of the album was just terrible. Hands was bad, Surf was good but forgettable, Once a Day was bad, Right was terrible, Floating was bad. Like the song had like only one banger. So oh my god, where to begin with this album? I feel like Mac Miller, let's say the positives. He has a beautiful voice, and I think he talks in a way that I feel like he's my friend and I want to listen to what he has to say. But that's kind of the extent of it. His vocal range is not the greatest. When he tries to go really high pitch, he cannot hit the notes. He's out of tune. The feature was more pleasant to listen to when it came to hitting the high notes and the ones that have more vocal texture and different melodies. But I mean, I think that the stuff that he writes about is very beautiful. But musically, if I'm just rating this musically, and I said that a couple times during the video, music is a universal language where I need to be able to enjoy it without knowing the lyrics. And I think a lot of his tracks are very mid, very like, this is good, or this is, yeah, I can put it in the background, and it's a nice vibe to have in the background. It's easy to just put this in the background and forget that something is playing and just work along with it, because it's not going to take you anywhere. All of the songs have a flat delivery. They don't conclude, they don't climax, they don't resolve. It's just middle of the road. And with the exception of a couple of songs, I'm skipping through most of them. There's no cohesion to the album besides his vocals, and I don't want to give this album a cohesion bonus award, like an extra bonus to it, because just the fact that you have the same artist doesn't make it cohesive. The fact that you have the same lyrics, I think, it's difficult, because lyric wise and artist wise, he is cohesive. He talks and he makes music about the things that he feels, and I think that is cohesion within the album. And I think obviously with this genre of music, where it's more like rap, hip-hop, sort of R&B, it's all about the feeling and the emotion of the lyrics. It's carried by the power of the lyrics. And when a genre is fully defined by what it's being said, then it excludes too many people. If I didn't speak English, I don't know if I could enjoy it as much. It would be a nice groove, a nice beat, but I don't know what the lyrics are saying. I'm lucky enough that I get to speak English and that I can read the beautiful messages and everything, and all his thoughts and everything that he's going through, and how human he is. But when it comes to analyzing it musically and taking away the lyrics, which I know it might be unfair because a lot of music is based on the lyrics, but again, I want music to be universal. I want to feel something, and a lot, like if I put the lyrics there and I include the vocals as melodies that complement the music, this music is just it just doesn't go anywhere. Like, it's so frustrating. Sorry, I'm doing some math here so I know exactly what this album is in my rating. Ooh, 1 second. What is it? 19. And this is divided by 14 tracks. Yep. If I have to say that this album, is it cohesive? I'm like, the way that I rate music, I don't think this is cohesive at all. The album and musically the ideas are all over the place. It has a little bit of an identity at the beginning, but it just falls apart really hard towards the end of the album, where I'm like, what happened to the melodies? They just became lazy. They just gave me harmonies and tones and pads, and they are expecting the artist to carry musically the rest of the track. And the beginning songs had so many nice melodies and grooves to it. So I don't think this is cohesive at all. Actually, I'm gonna take extra points away from this album because I feel like musically it doesn't make sense. I think some people would say that this is cohesive because the artist is always talking about the same, about his emotions. He's opening up, the messages are there, it's very introspective. But I'm not rating music based on what the lyrics say. I'm rating music based on musically what it makes me feel, without me having to know the lyrics and what he's saying. And although his voice is beautiful, musically I can't get into it. It's like I said, it's a loop of a melody. They get a loop, whatever it is. It could be click, clack, click, clack, and they just repeat that. That's the drums, click, clack, click, clack, and then they put a pad somewhere in there, chin, 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 click, clack, click, chin, and then he mumbles his way across that. That's his music, and it's hit or miss. And for the most part, it's miss because they're relying solely on him and what he's saying. It's like, bro, we can put any noise there, and because your voice is so beautiful and because you're such a beautiful human being, that people are just gonna listen to it. And I'm like, that's so lazy. When it comes to music, whoever his producer is not doing him any favors. Obviously I know that Mac Miller is no longer alive, but I'm just saying, whoever it was, they lazied out in a lot of the tracks. So, yep. My rating for this album is that this is bad. This is a bad album. I would never want to hear this or think about it again. There are some tracks that are salvageable. Complicated is the one that I like the most, my favorite track in the album. And I think the worst track in the album is, what did I say was the worst track in the album? I think, well, we have Floating, which was terrible. Oh, no, Floating was bad, sorry. We have Right. Right was terrible. And I think I said another song was terrible, didn't I? I don't think I did. So the worst song in the album is Right. What I think is the most popular song, I said it was going to be either Everybody or Complicated. I think Everybody is more globally appealing, and I think Complicated is just my favorite track in the album. Let's take a look at popularity. Okay, so time to take a look at popularity. And the most popular track is Good News. Okay, that's a good track. what did I rate Good News? Good News, I gave it a A. It's a good track to put in the background. And I think that's a good thing about his music. You can just put it in the background and forget it. It's just easy to forget, nice to work to. It has over 500 million plays. Yeah, this is the song where like he's kind of almost, I don't know if I understand the messages all the way through. I feel like he's expecting good news and he's just waiting for them to come. And it's a nice track, nice feeling track. I feel like, obviously knowing his story and the way that he's writing this track, I think makes it more memorable. So I can see it. It's a beautiful track and it's just sad. So I can see why this would be number 4, or number 1 in the most listened to. Then after that, number 2 is Blue World. And then Blue World, I gave it a maybe banger. Let me put my ratings over here so I can remember. Okay. Then we have Circles as the 3rd most listened to. And Circles, I also gave it maybe banger. So far, so good. Except for maybe Good News, which I gave it an A. But I understand why. And I think this is the appeal to his music. If you know the lyrics and you know the story, you appreciate it more. But if I can't speak English and I don't know who he is, then this track is just it's a good track to put in the background while working. The beautiful aspect to it disappears once you don't know the language, and that's it. So number 4 we have Woods, which I also gave it an A. Then number 5 we have Surf, and Surf I gave it a good but forgettable. Surf is the song that has the Redbone structure, which I think that they inspired. This is me assuming, but they took inspiration from Redbone to make Surf. They both have like the same length by like a second or two, and same structure as well. Then after Surf, the most listened song is Hand Me Downs, which is good but forgettable. And then after that, we have Complicated, which was my favorite song. The only salvageable song in this album. Now, the maybe bangers are also salvageable, but Complicated is the song that I like the most. It's the one with the nice tight drum set, and it's just very groovy, very let's walk and talk. So Complicated. Then we have, after Complicated, we have Everybody. So, okay, I did not guess the most popular songs, but because I was going musically, what people would listen to. Obviously, this is a lyrical artist, so people are going based on what he has to say. So the most popular tracks are Good News, or Circles. These are Blue World. Like, yeah, I've already said enough about that topic, so let's move on. After Everybody, we have Right. And Right was what I said was the most terrible song in the album. I think people, based on this, they're putting it as like or maybe a good but forgettable, based on how many listens they've gone for this track. Then after that, we have Once a Day. Once a Day, I put it as a bad song. Then we have That's on Me. That's on Me, I put it as So yeah, we're like in territory now. After that, we have, what do we have after that? Looks like we have Hands, which I said was a bad song, and is bottom 2. Oh no. Oh no, I forgot one. I forgot I Can See. I Can See is also just about the same as Once a Day. Once a Day, which I said was bad. And then I Can See, I said it was terrible. I said it was terrible. Oh my god, is my rating incorrect? 1 second. I'm gonna do some math again. Okay, no. So my overall rating of the album is, like I said, it was a bad album. It doesn't change the score numerically whatsoever. But yes, I said that I Can See was terrible. And now so I have to say which one is the worst song, either I Can See or Right. And I think that I Can See is I hate it more than I hate Right. So I'm gonna switch that. Worst song in the album is I Can See. But which is lower rated than Right. I didn't cheat that. I'm just it doesn't matter if you guys want to give that to me or not, but I Can See I hate it more than Right. So that's the one that has like and I'm like, oh, shut up. So, and then I Can See, we have That's on Me, we have Hands, and then the worst song, the one that people listen to the least, is Floating, which I said was a bad song. So yeah, that is kind of what it is for Mac Miller. Just a bad album from a beautiful guy, like from a beautiful lyricist. Just musically doesn't do it for me. This was painful to listen to. I'm sorry, bro, if you wanted a different rating for this album or if you thought it was gonna blow me away, but this musically was, unless I know what the lyrics are saying, then there's no way I'm enjoying this album. I can put this on the background and be kind of happy that, like, okay, it just sits there, but it's so boring. There's no ups and downs, there's nothing. It's just flat all the way through. And I think at some points it gets lazy on the musical aspect, not on the lyrical aspect. He never got lazy there. Very talented. Very nice to talk to this man, because that's what it felt like, a conversation with him. But musically, they did him wrong, whoever his producer was. So yep, that's it. I guess we'll see you on the next one. I hope you like this review. Even if you disagreed with it, hopefully maybe you can understand my point of view a little bit. So yeah, that's it. Peace out, bro.